Welcome to Buy Rent Bitcoin. I'm Collins Bonema. In today's video, we'll be going over the weekly recap of Bitcoin, and holy cow, hit the all-time high again today to 124K. We went up. We went up like a rocket from last week. So we hit about 108, 109K, and then we rocketed all the way up to 124K. Holy shit. Was that a run? I hope you made a ton of money, but if you didn't, I think there's going to be opportunities. So let's jump in the charts. Get some cheers. It was a beautiful day here in Chicago. It was actually 80 degrees. So I was able to get into Lake Michigan with my kids. So anytime in October where you could go into Lake Michigan, it's a beautiful day in my book. And it was even sweeter thanks to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin came off that late September low at about 108K. Some people thought it was actually going lower. So if you see this lower trend line or lower support, we actually validated this. That could happen where you do have some slippage because Bitcoin, it's a 24/7 asset, so it's a little more volatile than other assets. But we did violate that trend line, but it was a quick rejection back up. Some people thought, and I was hopeful that we were going down that low because I wanted to buy some more, cheap Bitcoin. But some people thought we were going back down to 98K. That did not happen. So we hit the low, late September low of 108K and rocketed back up to the all-time high at 124K. So we actually hit 124K and some change today. So now we have a triple top forming. And if we break through here, sky's the limit. So it's price discovery. So Bitcoin needs to find that new top. If we do break out of here and a clear breakout, we are getting a little bit rejected here. That's a little bit typical over the weekend. Let's see if things heat back up on Sunday. But if we do retrace, we still have this support line right at about 116,000. So we might come down, let this RSI, it's not overly heated, but it is getting up there. So it could take a breather and then, back second part of next week, we rifle back up again, maybe retest it and this time break it. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it's going to be a clean break? Do you think it's going to be smooth sailing all the way to 130K? Or do you think we're going to come back down to 116K before we rifle back up? But I wanted to put another crypto on your radar, and that is Solana. You're probably like, whoa, dude, I thought this was buy, rent Bitcoin, the better way to buy Bitcoin. I'm biased towards Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin, but I like to share an opportunity when I see it. And I think there is an opportunity with Solana. Things that I like about Solana, it's proof of stake. So unlike Bitcoin, which is proof of work where you can mine it, Solana is proof of stake. So if you stake your Solana, it uses that Solana to help verify transactions on the blockchain. So you can get a yield and a pretty nice yield right now with Solana on different exchanges. But Solana to me is looking very, very bullish. We might come back down and do a retest. So we might come back down to $200, or we could come back and retest this recent high at about $255 and some change. If we do, if we break that out above, 260, we can come back and retest this early January high of right around $300. So you could rocket straight up there, or it could be, we can ping pong between this, lower support, upper support, and slowly make our way there. But I think it's going to be more volatile. I think there's a lot of bullish things that are actually coming on Solana. And one thing that I thought was pretty cool, I don't know who's responsible for this project. I don't know how viable it is. I'm not currently trading equities on it, but it's called X stocks. You could also trade X stocks on Kraken. People like Kraken because it's a centralized exchange, it's backed by a company. But what X stocks is, it's actually tokenized versions of equities. So say if you're trading Tesla stock today on like E-Trade or another platform like Robinhood, you could trade that stock. But in the future, people believe that equities will become tokenized and you'll be able to trade tokenized versions of equities 24/7 like you currently do crypto. And a lot of these tokenized stocks are now being built on Solana, and you could actually trade them outside of a centralized exchange like Kraken. You could trade them on something called Radium. So I could come here now and I could trade with USDC or Solana, other cryptocurrencies, and I could trade that for a tokenized version of Tesla, which I think is pretty cool. And I think that's where the future is going. I know they're looking at tokenizing things on Ethereum as well, but I think to me, it seems like things are more quickly evolving on Solana. And looking at the market cap of Ethereum versus Solana, it's about one fourth. So I believe there's a lot more upside to Solana versus an Ethereum. But if you're an Ethereum fan, let me know in the comments. I have owned Ethereum in the past. I'm not against Ethereum. I like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The other one of they call them the four horsemen. So the other one is XRP. I'm not too bullish on XRP. I haven't done a lot of research on XRP, but I haven't seen too much built out on it. People really started trading on Radium, on Solana for like meme tokens and things like that. But it looks like it's becoming, I guess the best way to put it, more mainstream, where it's now taking on equities. And if we look at X stocks, you could trade Tesla, Nvidia, Circle, MicroStrategy, Coinbase. You have the SPY ETF, you have Robinhood, you have Apple, you have Google. So there's a lot of big names that you can now trade using X stocks or tokenized versions of equities, and you could trade them 24/7, which I thought was pretty cool. But let me know, are you bullish on Solana? What do you think is going to actually happen with Solana? But that's all for this video. If you want a better way to buy Bitcoin, go to buyrentbitcoin.com, where you could utilize passive income or other people's money to purchase Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. I hope you had a great week. Cheers. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.